Welcome everybody, or welcome back if you are new to my series of videos. I am your host, Deshaun Johnson, DeshaunJohnson.com, amongst many other things. Today I want to actually talk about another Business Insider article that I also found fascinating, and I'm starting I guess a Chinese series, a series about the way China is doing things, going from speaking on VIP Kid and their progression and just all sorts of things. But one thing that I just recently found really interesting and fascinating with China is their current mindset. Like there's this flip-flop that's going on to where America has been this super economical powerhouse, and right now things are going well economically speaking at this time. There's no telling how long that's gonna last, but the thing is that now China is actually the tides are turning where China was in this economic just torrential downpour for years, maybe even a few decades, and now they may have taken a page out of America's book, and it was like, we're going to just beat America. And this Business Insider article that I found, the biggest difference between China and the US today, explains why China is taking over the global economy. And this article was written in June 29th last year, 2018. But in my VIP Kid research and trying to just learn more about the company and taking an interest in Cindy Me and her come up, there's some key things, that ideas that this article has brought out. So let's just kind of jump right into it. A couple of bold point prints. China has outpaced the U.S. economy economically according to a number of economic metrics. A Chinese professor who has lived in both the U.S. and China believes there is a core cultural difference leading to the country's divergent paths. He believes Chinese people are fixated on economic advancement and business, while Americans are more focused on politics and personal freedoms. Oh man, the difference has led Chinese people to be willing to work longer hours and spend more energy on entrepreneurial activities. The title of this video is, if you want to get ahead, have a Chinese mindset. Okay, if you want to get ahead, have a Chinese mindset. And even as I'm doing this video, I just came up with that title as I'm talking, but well, it may change over time or whatever the case may be. Who knows? But anyway, I find the last two bullet points to be well, first one not surprising at all. Um, this is a little background experience about a college professor, but this one here is it's definitely alarming. It's definitely alarming, and I guess it shouldn't even be alarming. It just kind of is what it is. Like, it's just an ugly truth that we have gotten so fixated on this poisonous political climate. It's just all this poisonous gaseous rain in the air that's coming down on people, and it's corrupting minds. It's making people focus on the wrong thing, ignoring the real threat, and it's bad. It's bad. So while we're like caught up in stuff that doesn't really matter, um China they're focused on building themselves up economically, in advancement in business. That's crazy. And we're more concerned about personal freedoms that right now we still retain to this day, no matter how bad it gets, even for minorities. Even if we're discriminated about, we're still in a much better position than many people across the globe, not just this country, but across the globe. And then right now it's just a matter of choice. And we may not even have those personal freedoms forever because of what's happening. And I actually have a belief that, because we're so caught up in these toxic topics, somebody's going to do something heinous. Somebody's going to do something irrational. It's going to be from an emotional decision. They're going to be emotionally misled. They're going to do something that's going to make the government actually say, see, you guys can't behave yourselves. This is why we need to implement and put this in a place to keep you animals and you savages under control. There's going to be some martial law being put into place, and that's what's going to happen, because we're being our own, like, we're eating our own and drinking our own urine and dookie. That's what we're doing. We're putting out crap and we're eating it right up. And somebody's looking at us and been just saying that these guys need to be placed under control. And that's what's gonna happen. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Let me go down to what the actual, it says Dr. Zhang Winning, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I'm not gonna read about his history, but basically this paragraph. Zhang, who splits his time between the US and China, said that when he visits villages in rural China, the conversation he hears between villagers, farmers, and other people is about technology, business models, and artificial intelligence. Just look at the types of conversations that's being had right now. I'm not saying that those conversations aren't being had in America in certain parts, but that's not the overall consensus. The overall majority conversation, overall dialogue that's going on is about always about Donald Trump and what he's doing, which a lot of people are complaining, but we're in the gases is super low in the time that we're in. It was super high back in 2008, and right now it's super low. So who's to say how long that's going to last? And people are complaining, and they're not even looking at the blessings and some of the positives that we're experiencing. Things are just so bad because Donald Trump's in office, and that's not even a real threat, and it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. Let's continue to read. Meanwhile, when Zhang returns to his former homes in Kentucky or Texas, the dominant conversations both among academic circles and regular people is about the governor, the legislator, or hot button political topics of the day like gun control or abortion. The situation has only exacerbated in the Trump era. Not because of Trump, but in the Trump era, according to what this article is saying. Chinese people only care about this. Let me go ahead and highlight that. Chinese people only care about this. Who can be richer? What are the ways to get rich legally? Zhang said. We argue more about business models and new technology. And when Zhang's saying we, he's including himself in that Chinese conversation because according to the nature of his name, it appears to be Chinese by default. So Zhang believes the American obsession with politics sucks up energy and time that Americans could spend working on new technologies or developing new businesses. Okay, when you are only arguing about politics, this does not help your life at all, Zhang said. No one is paying you for that. Okay. Zhang recognizes that political discussions happen in the US because so much of the culture is based around preserving personal freedom. But he said Chinese people are currently focused on a different kind of freedom, the freedom for economic development. I'm going to actually stop right there and not even look more into the article. You want to continue to read this Business Insider article? I'll put a link in the description below wherever you're seeing this at right now. But that is that's what I call actually going ahead and adopting, that mindset, adopting the Chinese mindset. And people for years have been making Asian jokes about Asians being much smarter than Americans, and is really kind of it's almost kind of sad. Like somebody is outperforming you, outsmarting you, and you're just making jokes. It's like being back in high school. It's like the dumb jock who's big and strong laughing at the nerd, and the jock knows that this nerd is a lot smarter, but because appearance wise he appears physically fit, he appears to have the upper hand, he's underestimating what this nerd is doing. This nerd is surpassing him. It's the tortoise and the hare. It's classic tortoise and the hare. The hare looks at the tortoise, only looks at like, oh, you're slow, ha ha ha, gets cocky, egotistical, sleeps, goes on it behind it, up on a tree and goes to bed, and the tortoise has passed him up. Okay, the tortoise has just been consistent, and that's something that we're lacking right now. The whole video about, I always like to use this example. Okay, this is an example that I like to use. Let me go ahead and go to the. Okay, let's find this, discover this real quick. Okay, many of y'all may not understand this, so let's see here. Um, DC Universe Online, um, intro video, intro movie. Okay. Okay, now I won't play the video here. I guess because of like I don't want to infringe on copyright or anything like that, but I'll just show the list. But anyway, in the video is that you see Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Actually, Superman's in outer space somewhere, but you see all these DC villains fighting each other. Lex Luthor has led this, has become consumed with trying to eradicate Superman once and for all, and they got this war going on, and all the superheroes are actually dying. Like Black Adam kills the Flash, and um I forget who else in Green Lantern, and then Superman comes down and kills Black Adam. But if you're familiar with comics, you know what I'm talking about. But the point is this: is that Lex Luthor makes the comment and says that they were blinded by what was the real threat. They were blinded by what was the real threat, and there was an intergalactic alien space being named Brainiac that was coming to actually take over the world. And I think Brainiac actually had something to do with manipulating this whole situation and actually getting people, to face the wrong thing. So I always think about this video and it always stands out to me because people are so oftentimes so focused on the wrong threat. They're so focused on the wrong thing and they're ignoring what's actually going on right now. You have at this point in time now I'm actually speaking, you have people worried about what R. Kelly's doing. And we're going through a government shutdown. What's more important? That's the same thing that this article is talking about. What's more important? What's the biggest difference between China and the US today explains why China is taking over the global economy. What is more important? If you want to, the basis of this video, and I end this video on this note to provide some encouragement, some encouragement. Okay, what is more important to you right now at this moment in time? Are you being, and I said this in a previous video, but are you being like the ant? And I am quoting biblical because Jesus Christ takes care of me and my family. So look to the ant, O thou sluggard, who has no overseer, who has nobody watching out for him, yet prepares for things, yet prepares. And of course, I'm paraphrasing with that scripture, but what are you doing right now at this moment in time? What mindset are you adopting? Are you getting caught up in all this frivolous stuff that means nothing, or are you taking steps to actually secure a life that would be beneficial for you and your family, whoever that family may be at this point in time? What are you exactly doing? And are you putting in the work? Right now I have a lot of things going on, but I get blessed to have, I use the mornings for working out. Okay, I wake up before everybody else. I go to the gym or I go to the park. I'm running, working out. That's the time that I get to like spend with the Lord for me personally. That's this Bible time, listening to, the Bible. Not every time, but whatever, a podcast that's biblically related, kind of get my mindset in the right place. And then after everybody goes to sleep, once the kids are in bed, usually around like 8:30, around 9 o'clock to that stretch of about maybe 11:30, depending on what work I gotta do. I'm using those extra 2 hours to get some other work in. But also as I'm getting ready to do that work at nighttime, I make preparations. I write ideas down. I make notes. I record things, make reports to kind of see like what do I need to do next? What I need to do for this next video? What would I like to talk about? What type of audience would I like to build? And that's another key thing. You have to focus on, if you're in the online space, you really have to focus on building an audience and seeing who you want to actually attract. But me personally, I like doing these videos because I like to document and talk about, I read stuff online and I have my own ideas and my own rationales and thoughts about it. And I like to share it to actually start a conversation and see where that's going to go. But yeah, adopt this Chinese mindset. Just leave all the frivolous political crap alone. Focus on what's more important because I mean they're taking over. That's the bottom line. They're taking over. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If there's something in the conversation you disagree with me on, leave a comment wherever you're watching this at right now. I'd love to hear back from you. Deshaun Johnson. See y'all in the next video. God bless y'all.